Last game before a week off as we inch closer to All-Star Weekend. Packed house here on the Vegas Strip for two explosive offenses. Mitchell had a hand in her face.
Good help on the hedge by Boston.
Hull with the hesitation.
The architectural layout of professional basketball has officially collided with its ultimate day of reckoning, exposing a multi-layered narrative of athletic hostility, global banishment, and the final brutal collapse of a carefully constructed comeback campaign. For over 2 long years, the sporting landscape has been haunted by the toxic ghosts of a single highly violent moment that redefined the boundaries of on-court safety. The global audience remembers exactly where they were when a calculated off-the-ball assault threatened to derail the historic trajectory of a generational icon. The establishment tried to sweep it under the rug. The initial officiating crews labeled it a mere footnote of physical play, but the deep psychological scars left within the sport festered into a massive ticking time bomb. Tonight, that clock has officially run out. The long-awaited collision between an unrepentant antagonist and an ignited defensive brotherhood has finally taken place, transforming a standard regular season matchup into a high-octane war zone of pure unadulterated athletic retribution. To understand the terrifying magnitude of the structural humiliation that just unfolded under the bright arena lights, you have to look directly back at the dark genesis of this bitter blood feud. In June of 2024, during a maximum intensity showdown between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever, the ball had traveled completely out of bounds. The whistle had blown. The active play was entirely dead, and rookie phenomenon Caitlin Clark was looking completely away from the opposing defense, totally defenseless. It was at that microsecond of complete vulnerability that Chennedy Carter executed a maneuver that shocked the conscience of the sporting world. She squared her shoulders, firmly planted her feet, and drove her entire physical weight straight into Clark's hips, violently launching her to the hardwood floor for absolutely no basketball reason at all. There was no loose ball to scramble for, no defensive position to protect, and no logical athletic justification. It was a raw, deliberate act of physical suppression broadcast to millions of horrified homes worldwide. The immediate fallout from that historic assault exposed a profound level of institutional incompetence and corporate cowardice within the league's administrative infrastructure. The encore officiating crews watching the entire violent interaction occur live right in front of their eyes.
This path, there will be some moments, and I think a perfect example is from whom you just saw, Chennedy Carter. But I think also to learn from this situation, let's go back to Candace Parker. I played with her and I played against her, and she came in as a transformational player who dominated her rookie year, the only player to both be Rookie of the Year and MVP. And if you see in this moment right here, Plannette Pearson came at her and provoked a whole altercation. And I'm sorry, I played against Plannette as well. She had a distinct reputation on the court playing for Bill Laimbeer's Detroit Shock, and he brought that same Pistons energy to the WNBA. Now fast forward to where we are today and what we just witnessed happen between Chennedy Carter and Caitlin Clark. I want to be absolutely clear. No one condones what Chennedy Carter did to Caitlin Clark on that one play, but you have to call us
Inexplicably assessed a simple common foul, the exact same administrative penalty given for a routine bump during a battle for a rebound. It required an unprecedented wave of public fury, relentless digital backlash, and high-level emergency pressure from executive offices before the league finally intervened, upgrading the physical infraction to a flagrant one. While the victim of this assault chose the path of total diplomacy, dusting herself off and framing the moment as an unfortunate explosion of competitive emotion, the instigator chose a path of absolute arrogance. Standing in front of a packed room of intense reporters after the final buzzer, Carter aggressively refused to answer a single question regarding her toxic actions, firing back with a cold, dismissing phrase that permanently sealed her fate with the basketball public. Next question. But the corporate offices of professional basketball operate on a strict metric of brand protection, and the consequences of that toxic arrogance arrived with a devastating speed that no one anticipated. Despite maintaining an elite scoring output of 1.5 points per game, the Chicago franchise corporate leadership refused to tolerate the massive public relations nightmare anchoring around her identity. They completely cut her loose, refusing to offer a single contract extension, choosing to prioritize organizational sanity over raw athletic production. The league sources behind closed doors immediately confirmed that the locker room environment had been bending around her behavioral issues for months, and this public explosion was the final breaking point. High-level executives across all 11 remaining franchises looked at the tape, looked at the toxic media attachment, and unanimously corporate blacklisted her identity. One anonymous front office executive summed up her entire market value to the alternative press in a single terrifying word: radioactive, or an entire calendar year in 2025. That radioactive status forced one of the most talented scorers in the country into absolute global exile, completely detached from the bright lights of the American sports market, with every domestic avenue entirely locked from the inside.
Worldwide, I really think wherever we go, it's a home game for us. And so we just try to put on, work hard, play hard, and, we just got to work on our consistency. They show out for us, and we need to show out for them.
We saw you guys pregame, Sophie, and pretty much everywhere you guys go, right? Fever Nation is supporting you, and you guys are giving it back. What's it like to have this kind of environment everywhere you're going, even when you're away from home?
And so that was Sophie Cunningham talking about the fans. Now, Becky Hammond is at the podium. Let's listen to Becky Hammond. Let's see what she had to say. Let's blow it up. Let's roll it.
Unforced turnovers or offensive rebound battle there. What did you see in the second half?
Boards definitely hurt us, but I thought we, quite frankly, ran out of gas. We looked tired. Couldn't muster up enough energy to sprint into screens offensively. But the O boards definitely hurt us in the third quarter. Gets to be a compounding effect when you're not getting stops or they're getting second, third, fourth opportunities. It's just super deflating. So we got a couple days here to rest and regroup and go out on the road for one.
Coach, you just talked about running out of gas, but in these second halves where things kind of fall flat for you guys, what are some of the commonalities that you're noticing?
Clip 3. Carter was forced to pack her bags and grind out an existence in foreign territories just to keep her athletic career alive. Her desperate journey took her first to the domestic courts of Mexico, suiting up for the Adelitas de Chihuahua before moving across the globe to the foreign arenas of China to play for Wuhan Shengen. Isolated from the mainstream sports media, she channeled her absolute frustration into raw production, dominating the Chinese basketball landscape by averaging an astonishing 31.4 points per game and securing the league's most valuable player honors. On paper, these historical metrics should have guaranteed a multi-million-dollar domestic return, but the administrative boardrooms back home had already closed the book on her identity before a single basket was scored overseas. Realizing that exceptional numbers alone would never dissolve her radioactive status, a calculated public relations apology tour was initiated through alternative digital platforms. Carter sat down on a highly publicized podcast with internet streamer Neon, attempting to radically reframe the history of the 2024 assault. In a shocking, high-stake shift in narrative, she completely downplayed the violent hip check, casually describing the dangerous collision as nothing more than a nice little non-harmful "I'm here" energy tap. She went a step further, attempting to shift the blame by introducing a completely unverified claim that she had been aggressively elbowed prior to the incident, a critical detail that had never once been mentioned to reporters during the actual post-game media availability. Comparing her physical assault to the legendary NBA rivalry match between Jeff Teague and LeBron James, she openly declared to the digital audience that she absolutely loved the public hatred, confirming to every viewing executive that her core psychological makeup had not changed a single ounce. Yet, despite the massive ethical red flags and the ongoing public skepticism, the powerhouse organization of the Las Vegas Aces decided to take a highly controversial gamble, offering the exiled scorer a final high-stakes lifeline under the leadership of head coach Becky Hammond. The entire basketball community watched in absolute anticipation as the calendar officially advanced to July 5th, the definitive.
And it's almost like there's this resistance to acknowledging Caitlin Clark and the impact that she has had and is having. Chennedy Carter did what she did. It wasn't a basketball play. We see non-basketball plays being made on the basketball court by males and females all the time. It's not a big deal. This is not a reason to excoriate Chennedy Carter or Angel Reese, who got up and clapped immediately after she did it and said, come on, this ain't a reason to excoriate them or anything like that. But it is a reason to pause for a second and to remind them what's going on and what's transpiring before our very eyes. So what would that be? The WNBA right now is at a tipping point. You have a young lady in Caitlin Clark that generated 18 million viewers for the national title game against South Carolina. 14 million, if I remember correctly. If I'm wrong about that, Janae and Eminem, please let me know. I don't think I am. I think it was 14 million for the semifinals, 18 million for the national championship game, 12 million for the Elite 8 game. These are unprecedented.
Historic date where Chennedy Carter would be forced to step onto the floor and face the Indiana Fever for the very first time since the catastrophic event of 2024. The media conglomerates had already drafted their highly sanitized comeback scripts, fully prepared to market a beautiful story of personal redemption and competitive triumph. But they completely underestimated the fierce, uncompromising memory of an organization that had spent 2 years waiting to collect an outstanding physical debt. The moment Carter stepped onto the hardwood, her grand arc was instantly transformed into a living nightmare of tactical execution and physical domination. Serving as the primary defensive anchor for the franchise, Sophie Cunningham stepped onto the front lines with a terrifying, hyper-focused intensity designed to completely dismantle the antagonist's psychological confidence. Sophie did not hold back for a single second, locking Carter into an inescapable defensive prison from the very first possession. Every time Carter attempted to utilize her trademark speed or initiate her physical trash-talking, Sophie violently neutralized her momentum, legally driving her off her preferred spots, matching her step for step with a textbook ferocity that left the entire AC's game plan in total ruined shambles. The self-proclaimed league bully was completely shut down, mentally broken, and utterly humiliated in front of 20,000 roaring fans who watched her offensive credibility evaporate in real time under Sophie's relentless, unforgiving pressure.
Finding space, moving the ball, and letting things find us on the third and fourth sides. We're not getting the ball to the second side or third side offensively, and it really kind of bogs us down.
A question about the lineups. Shuffle a bit today. You've gone with Steph for most of the year. Cheyenne started tonight. Also saw Jewel in the starting lineup now for the past week. Are you kind of experimenting right now, seeing what works, or is there a different motivation for some of the lineups?
I just felt like we needed to start big with Cheyenne. Actually, I thought Steph played great the game before in Chicago, so it wasn't anything she did. It was just a executive decision. So we're going to take a look at the lineups, but just for the Fever, I felt like we needed to start two bigs.
Anyone else? Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
There you go.
So that was Becky Hammon, man, at the conclusion of the press conference. As you guys can see here, she still don't have an answer for Aaliyah Boston, man. When the refs don't do what they do for the Aces versus the Fever, be a totally different game. Aaliyah Boston had some of her best games against the Aces. Now get down in the comment section. Let me know y'all thoughts about this. Keep them bells on.
And this wasn't just an ordinary victory on the scoreboard. This was the ultimate poetic extraction of athletic justice on behalf of a teammate who had been wronged by the system. The corporate coaching staff of Las Vegas, completely stunned by the sheer velocity of the defensive trap, watched helplessly as their newly acquired scoring asset disintegrated on global television. The mainstream media attempts to protect her narrative were completely shredded by the raw reality of the performance. If you believe that the sports world has an absolute unalienable right to see the raw, unedited truth behind this historic in-court retribution, Sophie Cunningham's legendary lockdown of Chennedy Carter, and the complete collapse of the establishment's fake redemption story, you must subscribe to this platform immediately and smash that notification bell right now. The algorithms are actively working to suppress this broadcast to protect corporate sponsors, so do not let them hide the truth. Share this broadcast link with every true basketball enthusiast in your network immediately, because the narrative is fracturing and the truth behind the July 5th day of reckoning must be heard right now.